The light from my phone screen is a harsh, blue-white square in the dim morning light of our bedroom. It's Saturday. The kind of lazy Saturday that's supposed to be filled with the scent of brewing coffee and the soft weight of a husband sleeping in next to you. James is downstairs. I can hear the faint clatter of the espresso machine, a sound that has been the soundtrack to our domestic bliss for 6 years. I'm scrolling, a mindless morning ritual. Friends' vacation photos, ads for furniture we don't need, a video of a golden retriever puppy falling asleep in a bowl of food. Normal, mundane, safe. Then I see it. A post from a woman I don't know. Her name is Chloe Dubois, and she has one of those perfectly curated profiles. All sunset yoga poses and avocado toast. We have one mutual friend, someone from James's office. That must be why the algorithm served her up to me. The photo is a close-up of her hand, perfectly manicured, resting on a man's chest. The man is wearing a familiar gray t-shirt, the one with a tiny, almost invisible hole near the collar that I've been meaning to mend for months. Her fingers are long and elegant, and on her ring finger, sparkling under the golden light of what looks like a beach sunset, is my ring. Not a ring. My ring. The world stops. The sound of the espresso machine downstairs fades into a dull, distant roar. My breath catches in my throat, a sharp, painful thing. It's a custom piece. A vintage-inspired setting James and I designed together with a jeweler in the city, centered around a sapphire that belonged to my grandmother. It's one of a kind, as unique as our love was supposed to be. The band is a delicate, twisted vine of white gold, and there's a tiny, almost imperceptible engraving on the inside. Semper always. The caption under the photo reads, "Finally, a new chapter begins with my always." My blood runs cold. It's not just shock. It's a physical sensation, a wave of ice water flooding my veins, starting in my chest and spreading out to the tips of my fingers and toes. My hand holding the phone begins to shake, the screen blurring in and out of focus. I tap on her profile. More pictures. Her and James. On a boat, his arm slung casually around her shoulder, the same easy smile he gives me in our wedding photos. Her and James, clinking champagne glasses at a restaurant I've never seen, his eyes crinkling at the corners in that way that always made me feel like the only person in the world. Her and James, on that beach, the sunset behind them, and he's kissing her. The photo is dated 2 weeks ago, when he was on a business trip to Miami. The air in the room becomes thick, heavy, impossible to breathe. The beautiful life I thought I had, the comfortable Saturday morning, the loving husband downstairs making me coffee, it all dissolves into a cheap, cruel mirage. He didn't just cheat. He took a piece of my history, a piece of my family, a symbol of our entire life together, and he gave it to someone else. He let her wear it. He let her post it for the whole world to see. He erased me. If you've ever felt that sickening lurch in your stomach, that moment where the floor falls away and you're free falling through the life you thought you knew, tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you feel for what's coming, please subscribe. It helps more than you can imagine. The phone slips from my numb fingers and clatters onto the hardwood floor. The sound is obscenely loud in the sudden, crushing silence of the bedroom. I hear his footsteps on the stairs, light and carefree. "Babe, coffee's ready," he calls out, his voice filled with a casual affection that now sounds like a foreign language. I can't move. I can't speak. I can only sit here, frozen on the edge of our bed, staring at the spot on the floor where the phone lies, face down, hiding its terrible secret. The man walking up the stairs is a stranger, and he's about to walk into a room with a ghost. He appears in the doorway, a steaming mug in each hand, a lazy smile on his face. Morning, sleepyhead, his eyes, the same warm brown eyes that I fell in love with, scan my face. The smile falters. "Hey, you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I manage to find my voice, but it comes out as a dry, rasping whisper. "Who is Chloe Dubois?" The change is instantaneous and terrifying. It's not a big, dramatic shift. It's small. A flicker in his eyes. A tightening around his mouth. The lazy comfort drains out of his posture, replaced by a rigid, defensive stillness. The air crackles with the unspoken truth. He places the mugs down on the dresser, his movements slow, deliberate, buying time. "I don't know what you're talking about," he says, his voice perfectly level. "But I know him. I know the tiny muscle that twitches in his jaw when he's lying. It's twitching now." "Don't you?" I say, my own voice gaining a sliver of strength, fueled by the cold fury that's beginning to chase away the shock. "She's on Instagram. Wearing my ring. My grandmother's ring, James." He lets out a short, sharp laugh, but it's hollow, brittle. "Babe, you're being paranoid. It's probably just some woman who has a similar ring. You know, vintage styles are popular. He's trying to gaslight me. Trying to make me believe I'm crazy, that my own eyes are lying to me. It's insulting. It's more insulting than the affair itself. He thinks I'm that stupid. That weak." I slowly, deliberately bend down and pick up my phone. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely unlock it. I pull up the photo again, the picture of her hand on his chest, my ring on her finger. I hold it out to him, the screen glowing between us like a confession. "A similar ring?" I ask, my voice dangerously quiet. "Is that a similar t-shirt too? The one with the hole by the collar I was going to fix for you?" He stares at the phone. For a long moment he says nothing. The silence stretches, thin and taut, ready to snap. I watch the blood drain from his face. He's caught. There's no witty explanation, no plausible deniability. There is only the undeniable, pixelated proof of his betrayal. He looks from the phone to my face, and for the first time, I don't see the man I love. I see a cornered animal. "It's not what it looks like," he finally stammers, the classic, pathetic refrain of the guilty. "Then tell me what it looks like, James," I say, the coldness in my voice surprising even myself. "Tell me what it looks like when another woman is wearing my ring and calling you her always." He sinks onto the ottoman at the foot of the bed, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. He won't look at me. He's staring at the floor, at the intricate patterns of the Persian rug we bought on our honeymoon in Turkey. A trip that now feels tainted, a memory spoiled. "It was a mistake," he mutters. "It meant nothing. Nothing." The word explodes out of me, a raw, wounded sound. "You gave her my grandmother's ring. That meant nothing? The trip to Miami, was that nothing too? The champagne, the boat, the sunsets? Was our entire marriage nothing, James?" He flinches, finally looking up at me. And what I see in his eyes isn't remorse. It's not sorrow. It's annoyance. He's annoyed that he got caught. He's irritated that his perfect, comfortable life has been disrupted. In that moment, something inside me shifts. The heartbreak, the searing pain, it doesn't disappear, but it crystallizes. It hardens into something else. Something cold and sharp and clear. This isn't a man who made a mistake. This is a man who made a choice. A series of choices. He chose to lie. He chose to cheat. He chose to take the most sacred symbol of our life together and profane it. And now, he chooses to see me not as his heartbroken wife, but as a problem to be managed. "Listen, we can work through this," he says, his voice taking on a placating, condescending tone. "People make mistakes. Strong couples get past them." He's already rewriting the narrative. This is now a test of my strength, my forgiveness, my responsibility. The audacity of it is breathtaking. I stare at him, this stranger sitting in my bedroom, and I feel the last 6 years of my life collapsing into dust around me. The love I felt for him, the future I imagined with him, it all feels like a story I read in a book once, about someone else. I don't scream. I don't cry. I don't throw things. I just stand there, holding my phone, the evidence of his betrayal still glowing on the screen. And I make a decision. He thinks he's in control. He thinks he can manage me, placate me, and smooth this over. He thinks this is just an emotional problem. He has no idea that he's just started a war with an army he doesn't even know exists. He thinks our life is built on love and forgiveness. He's forgotten what it's really built on. My family's money. The first few hours are a blur of surreal, stilted conversation. He keeps talking, his words a meaningless drone in the background of my thoughts. He uses phrases like unforgivable lapse in judgment and deeply unhappy for a while now. He tries to paint a picture of a lonely, struggling man who sought comfort in the wrong place. He's building his defense, brick by pathetic brick. I let him talk. I watch his mouth move, and I nod occasionally, but I'm not really there. I'm floating somewhere above the scene, an out-of-body observer watching the demolition of her own life. He confesses the details in a slow, agonizing drip. Her name is Chloe. She's a junior marketing associate at his firm. It started 6 months ago. Coffee after a late night at the office. Flirtatious emails. A business trip that wasn't a business trip. He tells me it was just physical at first, a meaningless escape. But he says it with the conviction of a man trying to convince himself as much as me. The ring? I finally interrupt his monologue, my voice flat. Why the ring, James? He has the decency to look ashamed for a moment. It was stupid. We were in Miami on the beach. She saw a photo of it on my phone from our wedding. She said how beautiful it was. I'd had a few drinks. I wanted to impress her. I told her I could get her one just like it. When we got back, I took it from your jewelry box. I was only going to let her borrow it for a picture. I was going to put it back. I swear. The lie is so blatant, so poorly constructed, it's almost laughable. He let her borrow it. For a picture. A picture she captioned, my always. The sheer contempt he must have for my intelligence is staggering. He stole from me. He stole a family heirloom, a symbol of our marriage, to impress his mistress. He didn't just betray our vows. He committed a petty, grubby little theft. He keeps talking, but my mind has already moved on. I'm thinking about finances. It's a cold, strange thing to be thinking about when your heart is shattering, but it's where my brain goes. It's a port in the storm. Logic. Numbers. Assets. Things that are concrete and real in a world that has suddenly become an illusion. We have joint accounts. A checking account for bills, a savings account for the down payment on the house we were going to buy next year. We have joint credit cards. His car is in both our names. The apartment lease is in both our names. Our lives are financially entangled, woven together just as tightly as I thought our hearts were. But there's one crucial difference. The vast majority of the money in those accounts, the money that pays for this beautiful apartment, his expensive car, his designer suits, his business trips to Miami, it came from me. Or rather, through me. A generous trust fund set up by my grandfather, the founder and CEO of Sterling Chase Bank, one of the largest private banks in the country. James came from nothing. I didn't care about that when I met him. I loved his drive, his ambition. He was charming and smart, and he made me feel seen. My family was cautious. My father in particular. He's the current chairman of the bank, a man who sees the world in terms of assets and liabilities, risk and reward.
He saw James as a risk.
A man with expensive tastes and no capital of his own is a dangerous man, Eleanor. He told me once, in his quiet, calculating way. I dismissed it as the overprotective worrying of a father who didn't think anyone was good enough for his only daughter. Now his words echo in my mind like a prophecy. I'll end it, James is saying now, his voice earnest, desperate. He tries to take my hand, but I pull away, the touch of his skin suddenly repulsive. I'll end it today. I'll never speak to her again. We can go to counseling. We can fix this, Elle. I know we can. I love you. I've always loved you. He says he loves me, but the words are hollow, meaningless. Love isn't this. Love isn't theft and deception and humiliation. The man I loved wouldn't have been capable of this. Which means the man I loved never really existed. He was a character, a role James was playing to get the life he wanted. The life my money provided. The cold clarity I felt earlier returns, stronger this time. It's like a sheet of ice forming over the raw, churning ocean of my grief. I need to get out of this room. I need to breathe air that he hasn't contaminated with his lies. I need to go for a walk, I say, my voice devoid of emotion. I stand up and walk to the closet, pulling on a pair of jeans and a sweater with robotic movements. Elle, don't, he pleads, following me. Don't walk away. Let's talk this out. There's nothing to talk about right now, James, I say, turning to face him. I look him straight in the eye. You've said what you have to say. Now I need to think. I walk out of the bedroom, down the stairs, and past the 2 coffee mugs sitting on the dresser, now cold. I don't grab my purse. I don't grab my keys. I only have my phone. I walk out of our apartment, out of our building, and onto the bustling Saturday morning streets of the city. The noise is a welcome distraction. The anonymity of the crowd is a comfort. I walk for hours, with no destination in mind. I just put one foot in front of the other, letting the rhythm of my steps mark the time. With every block, the ice inside me thickens. He didn't just break my heart. He underestimated me. He saw me as the source of his comfortable life, a soft, forgiving woman who would eventually cry her tears and accept his apology because the alternative was too messy, too difficult. He saw my kindness as a weakness. He has no idea about the part of me that is my father's daughter. The part that understands leverage. The part that knows how to read a balance sheet and identify a bad investment. And James, I realize with a certainty that chills me to the bone, has become a very, very bad investment. I find myself in a small park I've never been to before, a little green oasis tucked between towering glass buildings. I sink onto a cold, iron bench and watch the pigeons pecking at crumbs on the pavement. My phone buzzes in my pocket. A text from James. Please come home.
I'm so sorry.
I love you. Another one a few minutes later. I've already called her. It's over. For good, a third. I can't lose you, Elle. You're my whole world. His whole world. The words taste like ash in my mouth. My world was him. His world, I now see, was the world my name and my family gave him access to. The private clubs, the exclusive events, the casual way he could drop $1,000 on dinner without blinking. He wasn't in love with me. He was in love with my lifestyle. And he just risked it all for a junior marketing associate. The arrogance is almost as offensive as the infidelity. I think about Chloe. I pull up her profile again. Perfect teeth, perfect hair, a body honed by hours at the gym. She looks young, ambitious. The kind of woman who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to go after it. Did she know he was married? Of course she did. The ring is the proof. She didn't want a man who was available. She wanted a man who was taken. She wanted my life. She saw the ring not just as a symbol of love, but as a trophy. A prize she had won. The caption, "My always," wasn't a declaration of love. It was a declaration of victory. They both made the same mistake. They saw the ring as a symbol of James's status, of the wealth he projected. They didn't understand its true power. They didn't understand that the ring wasn't just a connection to me. It was a connection to my family. And my family does not tolerate bad investments. My thumb hovers over my father's contact in my phone. My father and I have a complicated relationship. He loves me, I know he does. But his love is often expressed through financial protection and strategic advice rather than warm embraces. He's a man who operates on logic and consequences. When I told him I was marrying James, he didn't say, "Congratulations," he said, "Have you signed a prenuptial agreement?"
We did.
A very ironclad one, drafted by my father's team of lawyers. At the time, I was offended. Now, I feel a wave of profound gratitude for his cold, calculating foresight. Calling him feels like a final admission of failure. An admission that he was right about James all along. The shame of it is a bitter pill to swallow. But the alternative, going back to that apartment, to that man, and trying to glue the shattered pieces of my life back together, is unthinkable. That life wasn't real. And I can't live in a lie anymore. I press the call button. He answers on the second ring. "Eleanor. Is everything all right?" He never says hello. He gets straight to the point. My voice cracks on the first word. Dad. The single word carries all the weight of my broken heart, my humiliation, my rage. There's a pause on the other end of the line. Then his voice comes back, the business-like tone replaced by something softer, something I haven't heard since I was a child who'd fallen off her bike. Where are you? I'll send a car.
Fine.
I'm at a park, I say, pulling myself together. The ice is reforming. I can't afford to be a crying child right now. I need to be his daughter. I need to be a Sterling. I need your help with something. It's about James. I tell him everything. I don't spare any details. I tell him about the Instagram post, the ring, the lies, the trip to Miami. I speak in a flat, emotionless monotone, recounting the facts as if I were delivering a report in a boardroom. I can feel him listening, absorbing the information, processing it. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't offer condolences. He just listens. When I'm finished, there's a long silence. I can picture him in his study, sitting in his leather wingback chair, looking out over the city's skyline. He's not thinking about my broken heart. He's thinking about strategy. The joint accounts, he finally says, his voice cold and hard as steel. What's the current balance? I don't know exactly. Around 200,000 in the savings, maybe 20 in the checking. And the credit cards? 3 of them. All joint. He's the primary user on the Amex Platinum. He uses it for all his business expenses. Another pause. I can almost hear the gears turning in his head. Eleanor, he says, and his voice is grave. There is a clause in the main trust account agreement. The one that feeds your joint accounts. It's a protective measure. We can invoke it in cases of gross misconduct or financial malfeasance that threatens the family's assets. His leveraging of your shared financial identity to fund this affair qualifies. What does the clause do? I ask, though I think I already know. It allows me, as the executor of the trust, to place an immediate and total administrative freeze on any and all accounts linked to the trust. It also triggers an automatic audit of all recent major expenditures. An administrative freeze. The words are so clean, so clinical. They don't convey the beautiful, brutal simplicity of what he's offering. He's not just talking about freezing the accounts. He's talking about cutting off James's oxygen supply. Every dollar he has to his name, every credit card in his wallet, every dime he thought was his, is linked to that trust.
To me. To my family.
He's texting me, I say, my voice a whisper. He's saying he's sorry. He's saying he wants to fix this. He's not sorry he betrayed you, Eleanor, my father says, his voice sharp, cutting through my last vestiges of doubt. He is sorry he got caught. He is sorry he jeopardized his access to our money. Do you understand the difference? I do. I understand it perfectly. What do I need to do? I ask. Nothing. Just give me your verbal authorization. The rest will be handled internally. It will be effective within the hour. Within the hour. The speed, the efficiency, the sheer power of it is dizzying. James is probably at home right now, rehearsing his next apology, planning how he'll win me back. He has no idea that a financial guillotine is hanging over his head, about to drop. A wave of something dark and exhilarating washes over me. It's not happiness. It's not joy. It's vengeance. It's the cold, satisfying click of a lock falling into place. It's the feeling of taking back control. Do it, I say, and my voice doesn't shake. Freeze everything. Consider it done, he says. A car will be at the corner of 5th and Madison in 10 minutes. It will take you to the city apartment. It's been cleaned and stocked. Your key is with the concierge. Do not go back to your old apartment. Do not speak to him. Let the lawyers handle it from here. He hangs up. I sit on the bench for another minute, the phone heavy in my hand. The pigeons are still pecking at the ground, oblivious. The city still hums with life. Nothing in the world has changed, but everything has changed for me. The grief is still there, a heavy stone in my chest. But now, it has a companion, a cold, hard sense of purpose. I stand up and start walking towards 5th and Madison. I feel a strange lightness, as if a great weight has been lifted. The decision has been made. The first move in a new game has been played. And I'm finally playing to win. As I walk, my phone buzzes again. It's James. Elle, please answer me. I'm going crazy here. I'm booking us a trip. Anywhere you want to go. We can get away and reconnect. I look at the message and a small, bitter smile touches my lips. He wants to book a trip. With my money. Money he no longer has access to. He just doesn't know it yet. The Blacktown car is waiting exactly where my father said it would be. The driver, a man I've known since I was a little girl, gets out and opens the door for me. He doesn't say a word, but his eyes are full of a quiet sympathy. I sink into the plush leather seat, and the car pulls away from the curb, gliding smoothly into traffic. As we drive, I look out the window at the city, but my mind is elsewhere. I'm replaying the last 6 years in my head, but seeing them through a new, unflattering lens. I see all the red flags I ignored, all the little signs that something was wrong. The way his spending habits changed after we got married, the sudden need for designer watches and expensive suits. The way he'd talk about our money when he was making a purchase, but your money when he was talking about investments or savings. The way he was always a little too charming with other women, a little too eager to please. I chalked it up to him adjusting to a new lifestyle, to his ambition. I wanted to believe in the man I married. I wanted to believe he loved me for me, not for my bank account. It's a classic, pathetic story, the kind you read about in magazines. The rich girl and the charming man from the wrong side of the tracks. I always thought we were different. I thought our love was real. The car pulls up in front of a sleek, modern high-rise in a neighborhood I know well. My family keeps a few corporate apartments in the city for visiting executives. This one is my father's favorite. The doorman greets me by name, and the concierge hands me a key card with a discreet nod. The apartment is on the 40th floor. I step out of the elevator and into a silent, cavernous space. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a panoramic view of the city skyline. The furniture is minimalist and expensive. Everything is clean, impersonal, sterile. It feels less like a home and more like a luxury holding cell. But it's safe. It's a fortress. I walk through the apartment, my footsteps echoing on the polished marble floors. There's a fully stocked kitchen, a bedroom with a king-sized bed made up with crisp, white linens, and a bathroom the size of my old living room. On the kitchen counter, there's a bottle of expensive champagne on ice and a note from my father. It's not a letter, just a few words scrawled on his personal letterhead. Sterling Chase Legal Department. Contact Arthur Vance. He is awaiting your call. Arthur Vance. My father's top lawyer. The Shark. My phone rings. It's James. I stare at his name on the screen. I know I shouldn't answer.
My father told me not to, but I can't resist.
I need to hear it. I need to hear the moment he finds out. I answer the call, but I say nothing.
Elle?
Oh, thank God.
I was so worried.
Where are you? His voice is a torrent of manufactured relief. I remain silent. Listen, about that trip, he continues, his voice bright, cheerful, as if nothing has happened. I was thinking Italy. Remember how you always wanted to go to Tuscany? I'm on the airline's website now, looking at first-class tickets for next week. Just say the word, and I'll book them. I can hear him typing in the background. The click-clack of the keyboard is the sound of a man who has no idea he's already a ghost. He's trying to buy my forgiveness. He's dangling a shiny object in front of me, hoping I'll be distracted from the gaping wound he's left in my life. The Amex isn't working, he says, his voice suddenly changing. The cheerfulness is gone, replaced by a note of confusion. That's weird. The site must be glitching. Let me try the Visa. I stay silent. I can picture him perfectly, sitting at the desk in our home office, frowning at the computer screen, annoyed at this minor inconvenience that is delaying his grand gesture of reconciliation. More typing. A pause.
Huh.
The Visa was declined too. What the hell? He sounds irritated now, genuinely angry. Not at me, not at himself, but at the anonymous, uncooperative technology that is thwarting him. I'll just use the debit card. There's plenty in the checking account. This is it. The moment of impact. I hold my breath. I hear a few more clicks. A longer pause. A very, very long pause. The silence on the other end of the line is deafening. I can feel his confusion curdling into panic. He says, and his voice is small, tight. What's going on? My debit card was declined. It says insufficient funds. I finally speak. My voice is calm, steady, and as cold as the marble floor beneath my feet. That's because there are insufficient funds, James. What are you talking about? I just transferred money in there yesterday. There's at least 20 grand. There was. I correct him gently. There isn't any more. What did you do? He asks, his voice rising, a note of hysteria creeping in. Did you move the money? Where did you move it? I didn't move it, I say. I froze it. All of it. The checking account. The savings account. The credit cards. Everything. Another silence. This one is different. It's the silence of a man falling. The silence of a world ending. You what? He stammers. You can't do that. It's a joint account. You can't just freeze it without my consent. Oh, I can, I say, and I allow myself a small, humorless smile. My family's bank has certain protective measures in place for situations like this. Gross misconduct, I believe they call it. He's breathing heavily now, short, sharp gasps. The cornered animal is realizing the cage is locked. This is insane, Eleanor. You're insane. This is my money too. I work for that money. Do you, James? I ask, my voice still quiet. Do you really think your salary covers your $1,000 suits and your first-class flights and your little trips to Miami with your mistress? Do you think it covers the lease on our apartment or the payments on your car? You're a glorified middle manager. You don't make money. You spend my money. The truth of the words, spoken aloud for the first time, hangs between us. It's ugly and brutal, but it's the truth. And he knows it. You can't do this to me, he whispers, his voice filled with a dawning horror. I have nothing. My wallet is empty. I can't even buy groceries. That sounds like a personal problem, I say, echoing a phrase he was fond of using whenever I worried about our spending. You bitch, he hisses, the charm and contrition gone, replaced by pure, uncut rage. You think you can just cut me off? I'll call a lawyer. I'll take you for everything you have. I'll tell everyone you're crazy, that you're vindictive and unstable. You do that, James, I say, and I walk over to the window, looking out at the city lights twinkling below. You call your lawyer. I'm sure he'll be happy to work pro bono. In the meantime, I'd suggest you figure out where you're going to sleep tonight, because the locks on the apartment are being changed as we speak. I end the call. My hand is shaking. My heart is pounding. But I'm not scared. I'm not sad. I feel powerful. For the first time in a very long time, I feel completely and totally in control of my own life. He thought he could break me. He thought he could have it all, the wife with the money and the mistress on the side. He thought he was the one playing the game. He had no idea he was just a pawn. The sun is setting, painting the sky in fiery shades of orange and pink. It's beautiful. I should feel broken, watching my first sunset alone after the end of my marriage. Instead, I feel like I'm seeing the sky for the first time. The champagne is still chilling on the counter. I pop the cork. The sound echoes in the empty apartment. A celebration for one. A new chapter begins. My always. The days that follow are a strange mix of logistical chaos and emotional emptiness. I spend my time on the phone with Arthur Vance and his team of lawyers. They are ruthlessly efficient. They file for divorce, citing infidelity and financial misconduct. They send James a formal notice to vacate the apartment and a restraining order to keep him from contacting me directly. They begin the process of untangling our finances, separating my assets from our shared liabilities. James, predictably, does not go quietly. He leaves a string of furious, rambling voicemails on my phone, which I forward to Arthur without listening to them. He sends desperate, pleading emails, alternating between apologies and threats. He tries to contact my friends, my mother, anyone he thinks might get to me. He's trying to poison the well, to paint me as the crazy, vindictive wife who flew off the handle over a minor indiscretion. Some people believe him. A few of our couple friends, the ones who were really his friends, side with him. I see their posts on social media, vague statements about two sides to every story and how people shouldn't be so quick to judge. It stings, but it's also clarifying. It shows me who my real friends are. The hardest part is the silence. The vast, echoing silence of the luxury apartment. During the day, I'm busy, focused on the legal battle. But at night, the grief ambushes me. I lie in the enormous, empty bed and I cry. I cry for the man I thought I married. I cry for the future I thought we would have. I cry for my own naivety, for my willful blindness to the truth that was right in front of me all along. The pain is a physical thing, a heavy ache in my chest that makes it hard to breathe. But underneath the pain, that cold, hard core of resolve remains. I let myself feel the grief. I let the waves of sadness wash over me, but I don't let them drown me. I know that this is a necessary part of the process. The poison has to come out before I can begin to heal. One evening, about a week after the freeze, I get a call from an unknown number. I almost ignore it, but something makes me answer. Eleanor Sterling, a professional-sounding woman, asks. This is she. My name is Catherine Hayes. I'm the head of the fraud investigation unit at Sterling Chase Bank. My blood runs cold.
Fraud?
I'm sorry, I don't understand. As you may know, she continues, her voice all business, the administrative freeze placed on your accounts triggered a mandatory internal audit of all recent activity. We do this to protect the bank and its clients from potential malfeasance. During the audit of the joint business line of credit you hold with your husband, we flagged a significant withdrawal from 3 months ago. A transfer of $250,000 to an offshore account. I sink onto the sofa, my head spinning. $250,000.
I didn't authorize that.
We were afraid of that, she says grimly. The digital signature on the transfer request matches yours, but the IP address it originated from is located in the Cayman Islands. We cross-referenced it with your husband's travel records. He was in the Caymans for a banking conference that same week. A banking conference. Another lie. Another business trip that wasn't a business trip. He didn't just steal my ring. He didn't just spend my money on his mistress.
He stole a fortune from me.
He forged my signature and tried to hide it offshore. This is the plot twist I never saw coming. I thought his betrayal was purely emotional, supplemented by a lifestyle funded by me. I never imagined he was a common criminal. The freeze wasn't just karma. It wasn't just revenge.
It was a tripwire.
A tripwire that has just exposed a much deeper, more calculated crime than I ever could have imagined. This changes everything. This is no longer just a messy divorce. It's grand larceny. The signature. I whisper, my mind racing. He must have copied it from a document I signed. That's our assumption as well, Catherine Hayes says. Which means we're no longer looking at a simple case of financial misconduct. We're looking at forgery, wire fraud, and embezzlement. Ms. Sterling, I need to ask you a direct question. Are you willing to press charges? Am I willing to press charges? The question hangs in the air. This is the point of no return. This is the moment where I decide whether to simply divorce him or to ruin him. The man I once loved. The man I promised to spend my life with. I think of him on that beach with her, my ring on her finger. I think of his condescending tone when he told me I was being paranoid. I think of his rage, his entitlement, when his credit cards were declined. I think of the cold, calculated way he stole $250,000 from me, from my family, and hid it away. He wasn't just cheating on me.
He was building an escape hatch.
He was planning to leave me, and he was planning to do it with my own money. There is no more grief. There is no more sadness. There is only a vast, empty, cold space where my love for him used to be. And in that space, there is only one possible answer. Yes, I say, my voice clear and steady. I am absolutely willing to press charges. Do whatever you have to do. The legal machinery, which was already formidable, grinds into a higher gear. It's no longer just my divorce lawyers against James. It's the full weight of Sterling Chase Bank's legal and fraud departments. It's a multi-billion-dollar institution against one man who got too greedy. He doesn't stand a chance. They move with terrifying speed. They work with federal authorities to freeze the offshore account before he can touch it. They issue subpoenas for his work emails, his phone records, his travel documents. They build an airtight case against him, brick by brick, document by document. James's reaction is predictable. He panics. The angry voicemails stop, replaced by frantic, terrified ones. He begs me to call it off. He says it was all a misunderstanding. He says he was investing the money for us, for our future. He says he was going to tell me. The lies become more and more outlandish, more and more desperate. He tries to hire a lawyer, but no reputable firm will take his case once they see the evidence Sterling Chase has compiled. He's financially radioactive. He has no money, no assets, and he's being investigated for multiple felonies.
He's on his own.
The day he is arrested, I'm in Arthur Vance's office, signing the final divorce papers. Arthur gets a text message. He looks at it, then looks at me, a grim satisfaction in his eyes. They just picked him up at his office, he says. In front of everyone, I imagine the scene. The police officers walking into the shiny corporate lobby. The hushed whispers. The looks of shock and pity on his colleagues' faces. The click of the handcuffs. The ultimate humiliation. A part of me, a small, stubborn part that still remembers the man I fell in love with, feels a flicker of pity. But it's quickly extinguished by the memory of his betrayal. He built this prison for himself. I just locked the door. The divorce is finalized quickly. The prenuptial agreement holds up without a fight. He gets nothing. Not a single penny. The apartment, the car, the furniture, the art, it's all mine. He's left with nothing but a mountain of legal bills and a looming criminal trial. I read about it in the financial papers. Promising executive charged in embezzlement scheme, they don't mention my name, referring to me only as his estranged wife from a prominent banking family, but people in our circle know. They all know. Chloe Dubois, his always, disappears from his life as quickly as she appeared. Her Instagram profile is scrubbed of all photos of him. She gives a statement to the investigators, claiming she had no idea he was stealing money, that she was just another victim of his lies. She paints herself as a naive young woman who is taken in by a charming, manipulative older man. She walks away unscathed, moving on to her next target, I assume. She never gets the ring. It was recovered from her apartment by the police and is now sitting in a safe in my father's office. I don't want it back. It's tainted. The trial is a formality. The evidence is overwhelming. He pleads guilty to lesser charges in exchange for a lighter sentence. He's sentenced to 5 years in a minimum security federal prison. 5 years. It feels like both a lifetime and not nearly enough. The day of his sentencing, I don't go to the courthouse. Instead, I go back to our old apartment for the first time since that Saturday morning. It's been empty for months, a silent museum of a life that no longer exists. Movers are coming tomorrow to pack everything up. Most of it will go into storage. Some of it I will sell. I walk through the rooms, tracing my fingers over the furniture we picked out together. I look at the photos on the mantelpiece. Us on our wedding day, us on vacation, us smiling at a Christmas party. It feels like looking at strangers. I don't recognize the happy, trusting woman in those pictures. I don't know who she is anymore. I find myself in his closet. His expensive suits are still hanging there, perfectly pressed. His designer shoes are lined up in neat rows. It all looks so pathetic now, a hollow costume for a man who is playing a part. In the back of the closet on the top shelf is a small wooden box. I take it down. Inside is a collection of old photos, letters, and mementos. It's his memory box, the things he brought with him from his old life before me. I find a picture of him as a young man, in his early 20s. He's standing with his arm around his mother, a tired-looking woman with a kind smile. They're standing in front of a small, run-down house. He's not wearing a designer suit. He's in a faded t-shirt and jeans. But he's smiling a real smile, not the polished, practiced one I knew. He looks happy. He looks innocent. And for the first time in a long time, I feel a pang of genuine sorrow. Not for me, but for him. For the man he might have been if his ambition hadn't curdled into greed. For the boy in the photograph who probably never imagined he would end up here. I close the box and leave it on the shelf. That life, that man, is not my responsibility anymore. I walk out of the apartment and don't look back. Life moves on. The city doesn't stop for a broken heart or a broken marriage. The seasons change. I sell the apartment and buy a smaller place downtown, a place that is just mine. I fill it with my own things, with books and art that I love. I start working again, taking a position at a nonprofit arts foundation, something I've always wanted to do, but never had the time for when I was busy playing the part of the perfect corporate wife. I see my friends. I travel. I learn to be alone again. It's not easy. There are days when the loneliness is a heavy blanket, when the silence in my apartment is deafening. But there are also days of profound peace, of quiet joy. The joy of waking up in a bed that is all mine. The joy of making my own coffee, just the way I like it. The joy of knowing that my life is my own, that I am not an accessory to someone else's ambition. My father and I become closer. Our relationship is still not warm and fuzzy, but there's a new level of mutual respect between us. He sees me not as his fragile daughter who needs protecting, but as a capable woman who weathered a storm and came out stronger on the other side. He never says, "I told you," so he doesn't have to. One day, about a year after the divorce, I'm having lunch with him at his club. Arthur Vance tells me James is up for parole soon, he says, stirring his iced tea. I know, I say. I got the notification. Are you concerned? He asks, looking at me over the rim of his glass. I think about it for a moment. Am I concerned? Am I afraid he'll try to contact me? To hurt me? A year ago, the thought would have terrified me.
But now.
No, I say, and I realize it's the truth. He has no power over me anymore. He's just a sad man who made some bad choices. His story is over. Mine is just beginning. My father nods, a rare, small smile on his face. Good, he says. That's my girl. The past is a part of me, but it doesn't define me. The scars are there, but they've faded. They're a reminder of what I survived. James tried to erase me, to reduce me to a source of funding for his double life. He thought my grandmother's ring was just a pretty object he could use to impress his mistress. He didn't understand that it was a symbol of a legacy, of a strength that has been passed down through generations of women in my family. Women who do not break easily. He tried to take everything from me. My love, my trust, my money, my future. But in the end, he's the one who lost everything. And me? I lost a husband, but I found myself. And that's a trade I'll take any day. Thanks for being here with me through this. It means more than you know. If this story found you at the right time, subscribing helps bring more of these to life. I'd love to know where you're listening from, so drop a comment and say hello.